Story 1. The Lamplighter's Path. Wiltshire, 1984. I was 16, cycling home from Pusey after a late shift in the supermarket where I worked. It was foggy along the Lamplighter's Path, the one by the canal. As I pedalled, I saw what I thought was a lamp swinging ahead, 50 yards in front. I called out to it, but it didn't stop. Then it veered off the path and glided across the water. Dead silent. No footsteps, no splash. That's when my chain slipped, and I nearly went in trying to catch it. The reeds started rustling, keeping pace, like someone unseen was walking behind me. When I told my mum about it that night, she said her uncle tended those lamps before the war, and that he drowned on that stretch during a flood. I went back there last year. The reeds are gone now, just the water. But if you stand there long enough, it feels like someone's there, trying to keep up with you, walking behind you. Story 2. The Rowan at the Door, Aberdeenshire, 1972. My mum said the rowan tree kept bad things out. We had one by the Croft Gate, always tied with red thread. When it died, my dad cut it down. He said superstition had no place in the modern world. That night, every window started tapping, not randomly but steady, like knuckles banging against the glass. When we lit the lamp, our breath fogged in the air, even though the fire was roaring. Then the tapping sound moved to the walls, the noise all around us. Mum went very still and whispered, "It's open now." She wasn't talking to us. She meant the doorway, the one the rowan had been keeping shut. By morning, every mirror in the house had fogged from the inside, and that afternoon, Mum tied a fresh branch to the gate, and the tapping never came back. Story 3. The Keeper's Cottage, North Yorkshire Moors, 1991. I was working with the National Trust, surveying derelict sites near Gothland. One cottage I came across wasn't on the map. When I checked the records, it was supposed to have burnt down in the 60s. But there it stood, smoke still curling from the chimney. And as I edged inside, I saw a kettle sitting on the hearth, still warm. There was an open ledger on the table, with tiny handwriting that read, "Fog thick, no hikers today, sheep unsettled." The last entry was dated yesterday. The place unsettled me, and I left quickly. When I returned there the next day, the spot was just bracken and ash. The ledger was gone, but I swear the ground still felt warm beneath me. Story 4. The Tall Woman, Somerset Levels, 1963. My dad drove a haulage truck during nights, along the A361, through the marshes. He once told me a woman in grey would stand by the old toll house, thumbing a lift. One night he stopped. She climbed in, dripping wet, and said she'd been walking since the ferry broke. He turned towards her to ask where she lived, but the seat was empty, with a tiny pool of water where she had sat. He drove on and put the heater on full blast, but his sleeve stayed damp all night. One patch, on the armrest where she'd leaned. He said every October after that, he could smell the river in the cab, even years later when we'd moved to Leeds. Story 5. The Whispering Well, Herefordshire, 2019. We were restoring an orchard near Bromyard, an old listed place with a disused well behind the barn. The owner told his children used to drop pennies in the well and make wishes. One day, one of our team, Lorna, leaned over to clear the leaves and suddenly froze. Pale and frightened, she said the well had whispered her name, the sound of her own voice calling up. She quit that very same day. A week later, the owner sent us a message to ask why Lorna's name had been carved into the stone rim, but none of us had returned to the site since she left. I went back to check. The carving was real. Her name, cut deep and clean, as if freshly made. I decided to seal the well for safety and started laying boards across the opening. As I set down the last board, a breath rose from the darkness below. Not words, just a sound, like something trying to remember the name it had learnt